The story begins with a little girl named Yuli. She was having dinner with her parents when her mother suddenly fell ill. It seemed as if she had been possessed by a dark energy. Her neck stiffened uncontrollably, and her skin began to tear as nails emerged from beneath. Her eyes were bleeding. Witnessing this terrifying scene, Yuli screamed. Her father quickly locked her in a room to protect her from the horror. Yuli could only hear her father's screams. Suddenly, the lights went out, and when Yuli tried to look through the broken door, her mother's terrifying face suddenly appeared before her. Yuli fainted at the sight. The next morning, the police rescued her, and she discovered to her shock that both her mother and father had died that night, leaving her alone. While still in shock, a woman named Amber arrived claiming to be her father's wife. This turned out to be true. Yuli was shocked to learn her father had a second family, now that she had no one else. She had to live with her stepmother. 20 years later, Julie lives in Amber's house, not as a family member, but as a maid. Amber is now old and confined to a wheelchair, while her daughter Laris runs the house. Laris is married with 2 children. Laris's eldest daughter, Tika, attends an Islamic school. While studying the Quran, she is told about 2 books, Sajin and Ilian. The teacher explains that in Sajin, angels record evil deeds, while in Ilian, angels record good deeds. The scene cuts to Laris's son, who is currently in Amber's room playing with a Ouija board, a portal used to communicate with spirits. He is engrossed when the door suddenly opens. He thinks an entity has entered, but it is only Yuli. Tika follows Yuli, who tries to stop her brother from playing. The boy, however, is obsessed with communicating with the dead. He asks Yuli, "Have you ever wanted to talk to the dead?" She replies, "When my parents died, I really wanted to talk to them." Hearing this, Amber stands in anger and grabs Yuli, shaking her. She says, "What happened to your parents was deserved. They were punished for their actions." At this, her health fails. Blood gushes from her mouth, which she spits onto Yuli's face before dying in agony. The funeral is held, and Laras mourns her mother. Yuli realizes that despite everything, she was still family. She contemplates her feelings, but as she approaches, she is reminded of the years Amber spent torturing her. Suddenly, she imagines Amber opening her eyes and telling her to die. Terrified, Yuli screams. As she pulls away, Laras becomes enraged and slaps Yuli for making a scene at the funeral. Days pass, and life returns to normal. Yuli works at Laras's shop. When she tries to return borrowed money, Laras accuses her of theft and slaps her in front of everyone without listening. As a crowd gathers, Laras publicly insults Yuli's character. Deeply hurt and insulted, Yuli's grief and anger become overwhelming. She decides she must act. She seeks help from her co-worker Yano, who takes her to a secluded shaman. Driven by fury, Julie shows him a photo of Laras's family and says, "I want to destroy this entire family." The shaman asks, "Just like you did with Amber." It is revealed Amber's death was not natural. It was Yuli's black magic. The shaman begins the ritual. Reciting incantations, he burns the family photo and presses the ashes into Yuli's hand, burning her. He says, "The magic is yours now, but it's not easy. We need a fresh corpse for this spell." Yuli replies, "Don't worry, I'll get it." That night, Yuli asks her co-worker to help her exhume Amber's body, and they take it to the shaman. The shaman sends Yano away and gives Yuli a black hen, telling her to slaughter it and collect its blood. Yuli obeys the command. The shaman pours the blood over a severed goat's head, adding goat hair and black buffalo skin. He writes the names of the targets on paper and dips it into the mixture. He then applies it to the corpse. As he chants, Amber's mouth opens. Now Yuli wraps the names in skin and places them inside the corpse's mouth. The shaman warns Yuli she must complete the ritual before the body decomposes. If she fails and the body rots, the spell will turn back on her. Meanwhile, Tika is praying when she sees a ball of fire outside her bedroom window. The lights flicker, the window panes shatter, and a terrifying creature enters her room. During prayer, Tika hears her grandmother's voice. She becomes terrified, but Yuli arrives to coax her back to sleep. Tika is shaken. It turns out similar strange things happen to her brother. They try to convince Laris the house is haunted, but she won't listen. Tika's brother says, "I used the Ouija board and Grandma spoke to me. She even shook the board." Tika is deeply shocked and consults her teacher. The teacher explains that the dead cannot return to this world. If they see a dead person, it is not their spirit, but a demon taking their form. That night, everyone gathers for prayer. While Yuli continues her ritual, she writes a name, wraps it in skin, takes a piece of Amber's flesh, and places it inside, sealing it with nails. Meanwhile, the child is still playing with the Ouija board. A message appears, "Come to Grandma." He is horrified. Suddenly, a worm enters his ear, causing him to writhe in pain. His sister Tika hears his cries and rushes to help. The door won't open, but when she forces it, she sees her brother using the board to bash his own head. He then slits his throat with a broken shard, killing himself. At the funeral, the boy who helped Yuli confronts her, asking, "Is this because of the shaman? Is she doing this?" Yuli replies, "No, they're just being punished for their sins." Meanwhile, Tika visits her teacher again. The teacher suggests praying at midnight for peace. As she prays at midnight, another voice whispers, "Amen." She is entirely alone and terrified. The next day, Yuli targets Laris's husband. She bites her finger, faking an injury to get close to him. This time, the man seems to welcome her advances. When Laris scolds her, her husband takes offense, sparking a fight between them. "Why do you always scold Yuli?" Surprised, Laris asks, "Why are you defending her? Why are you thinking about Yuli? Has she cast a spell on you?" He leaves in a rage. Later that night, Yuli approaches him again and lures him into her room, trying to seduce him. Meanwhile, Laris calls him repeatedly, but he doesn't answer. Yuli seduces him completely. Afterward, Yuli begs him to leave Laris for her. He refuses, enraging Yuli, especially when he insults her character. Furious, Yuli watches him leave. Tika witnesses the encounter and understands everything. Yuli, seeking revenge, performs a ritual on Laris's husband. She writes his name and places it in the corpse. The man feels a sharp pain and vomits blood in the bathroom. Suddenly, a worm enters his eye and crawls toward his nose, moving toward his other eye. He can feel it under his skin. Trying to remove it, he accidentally pops his own eye out. In his terror, he sees a figure resembling Amber. Frightened, he slips and falls, hitting his head and dying instantly. Hearing the crash, Lara tries the bathroom door, but it's locked. His death devastates the family. Meanwhile, Yana realizes Yuli's role and confronts her, saying, "I won't be responsible for your crimes." Yuli, enraged, targets him with the same ritual. The spell takes effect. Every time Yano tries to close the shop, the shutter flies open. Terrified, he enters and sees the same demon as the others. He tries to flee through the shutter, but as he steps out, it slams down, crushing his head and killing him. Yuli has killed many, but not yet the one who tormented her the most. She targets Laris. As she performs the magic, the scene cuts to Tika. Her ceiling collapses and the lights flicker. Terrified, Tika goes to her mother's room and is shocked to find her mother looking like a demon. She is possessed by a spirit sent by Yuli. Lara sees Yuli and screams, "You'll die." Tika locks herself in a room and calls her teacher. The teacher orders Lara's to be removed. In the panic, Tika notices Yuli acting strangely and disappearing into the darkness. She follows her secretly. While Yuli is busy, Tika watches from the shadows and realizes Yuli used black magic in their grandmother's corpse. Tika confronts her immediately, and Yuli confesses to everything. To justify her actions, she asks, "Do you think I'm wrong?" "I was the one wronged. Your grandmother used black magic to kill my parents before my eyes. They tortured me for years. Now everyone must pay." Yuli leaves. The scene cuts to the teacher performing an exorcism on Laris. Meanwhile, Yuli tries to finish her spell, but every time she tries to sew the name into the corpse, it rips open, injuring her repeatedly. The exorcism is causing Yuli's magic to fail. Amber's corpse begins to decay rapidly. As the shaman warned, the ritual must finish before decay. Her magic has failed. As predicted, the black magic now consumes Yuli. Her fingers twist, and she vomits blood. The spirits she summoned turn on her, attacking and killing her with iron nails. Meanwhile, Laris spews black blood and worms from her mouth. The worms spread as she regains consciousness. She immediately apologizes to Tika. She knows this tragedy is because years ago she and her mother wronged Yuli's parents. She pays the price, but her family has suffered enough. She dies while begging her daughter for forgiveness. In the post-credit scene, we see Larissa's funeral, leaving Tika alone in the world. She prays for the dead and asks for the courage to survive alone. Thus the movie ends. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hype the video. Your support matters the most.